He's been the savior of many a bureaucratic morass. He served as receiver to the City of Chelsea and the Boston Housing Authority, then commissioner of the troubled Department of Social Services. That made Harry Spence a natural choice when he was named last year as the first civilian administrator in charge of trial court operations. And Harry Spence joins me along with Judge Paula Carey, who was just appointed the next Chief Justice of the trial court. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so Harry, when you took this job a year ago, you said you were going to try to visit every single courthouse in the state, of which there are approximately 100. How you doing?
Well, I'm trying to do one a week, which has me probably, I think I've done about 35 or so far. So
That's not bad.
We're getting there. Yeah.
One of the frustrating things for the court has always been the fact that the legislature has line item veto, which is why it became such a dumping place for, all these cronyism and all that. Was the probation department scandal problem. Can you fix that? Do you want that to be?
Actually, I think it's fair to say the legislatures over the last few years has made they've really changed their ways totally on this question. So today, we have the Senate budget, for example, that's just been passed, gives us full transferability, so there's no line item, court by court, anything. The House budget has 6 line items total. So they've really stepped back totally from the old days when they did that kind of thing. They really have. I'm very heartened by the support we've been receiving from the legislature for professionalizing and modernizing the court system.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
All right, so how did this come about, Paula? I mean, you guys are basically, your build is sort of like co-equals. This is a new job. It used to be one person. Now it's 2 at the top. How's it working?
From my perspective, it's really a unique opportunity, and it's actually a stronger whole. We are viewing this as our job together. We are making it a point, in fact, since the announcement of my appointment, we have gone to many events together, and our intent is to present a united front and a united position with what we do. Certainly, Harry has his aspects of the job, and I have my aspects of the job, but never are the two too far from each other. And when you look at my job is really about judicial policy.
Yeah, what's the mission here? What are you guys trying to accomplish?
Well, our mission, as dictated by our strategic plan, is one mission: justice with dignity and speed. We are in the process of developing, we actually have developed a strategic plan that is now in the hands of the Supreme Judicial Court, hopefully for approval, maybe with a few changes, but hopefully for approval, which I think is the blueprint going forward for our organization. We've got some terrific people. We did a survey, and frankly, it's 30%, right? 30% of our organization want aggressive change, and a full 80% want change. 90% want change generally. So I think we need to capitalize on that.
What kind of changes are they looking for?
A lot of it is modernizing the system. I mean, I've been working in Massachusetts for 45 years, and when I started in Massachusetts state government 45 years ago, it was really very much sort of early 20th century. The system, the rest of the government has come very much more into the 21st century. Our task is now to catch up and move into the 21st century with our system. So technology is huge for us. Technology is a huge issue. The federal system is all electronic. They use no paper in the federal court system. We're deluged with
They just don't
paper.
allow cameras. Don't get me going on that.
That's right.
But we're not amused by it at all.
I understand. But they, we're moving very rapidly to digitize a great deal of our documents and allow lawyers and citizens to file cases online, police departments to file criminal complaints online. All of this is happening very rapidly over the next couple of years.
Is there still a backlog that we heard so much about over the last couple of years?
We do still have somewhat of a backlog, and if we get to e-filing, which we are well on our way to getting to e-filing, it's going to tremendously help that situation. We have made some inroads in our backlog, and in fact, each day, more and more of our courthouses are opening. As you may or may not know, we had closed some courthouses.
Yeah, I know. I thought you wanted to close more.
No, this has to do with clerks' offices. Clerks' offices where they're operational and they're fully operational. We are not even thinking about closing them. They have closed just to keep up with the paperwork.
So 2 afternoons a week or something, they'll just have to close
some of them
to the
one
public.
day, every day. So we are increasingly getting those courthouses
Getting down to the
open.
basics here. When people say that they want change, I mean, I haven't spent nearly as much time in a courtroom as you have, but I've spent some, and this whole thing with continuances and moving, like, it's like, why? Right. Why is a judge saying, we'll continue that and we'll move this? Why? We'll just deal with it. I just don't understand that.
Right.
That's one of our priorities. Yep. Case management is one of our priorities.
Sometimes it could be three appearances for a shoplifting case.
Several years ago, the court system really made a huge conceptual breakthrough and said, we're going to start using data on timeliness of cases, and started measuring and setting time standards for completing cases. In the last 4 or 5 years, we've lost 20% of our staff, and some of that effort, which was really intense, began to weaken because we just didn't have the staff to do it. And in terms of backlog, it's been increasing. It was getting dramatically better because of the time standards, and then it began to weaken again because of the loss of staff. So part of it is to bring us, when I say bring us into the 21st century, it's to do those kinds of things. It's to make sure that we provide justice swiftly. Timely
and our
decision
staff has gone beyond. They have been tremendous in terms of going the extra mile, doing 2 and 3 jobs at a time when we've lost staff. So they have been really terrific.
And what about this? Oh.
Sorry, I just wanted to say we're 9% of the state workforce. We've taken 20% of the reduction in state employment. I know that. That's huge.
So this whole mess with Annie Ducan and the drug lab, I mean, this has dumped a potential 135,000 cases back into the system. Are you seeing the effects of that?
Well, we have, but I think we're dealing with it very well. I mean, in the Superior Court, there's been 2,300, almost 2,300, 22 and some change, 2,268, I believe, cases, actually hearings that have been held. It's really almost 700 cases per se, because sometimes certain cases are heard a couple of times or multiple times. We have hired magistrates, so we've had retired judges come in to try to help us deal with the issue.
So you're dealing with them all at once?
We're dealing with them as they come to us. It's really, the trial court is in the, we don't look for these cases. It's the DAs and the defense attorneys that bring them to us, and we are required to handle them as they bring them to us.
So we've been able to move swiftly on them. So far, we've been able to do so without actually taking any of the additional money that the governor, asked for a very large additional supplement. We haven't needed any additional money yet. We don't know what's going to happen as these cases continue to expand. It could get very, very rough, but we've been using temporary people so that we've been able to do it very economically and very swiftly.
Do you have any idea how many of these people have been released from prison as a result of this? Because we did have that one incident a few weeks ago where some guy released.
I don't have the numbers on that. I can tell you that we're doing a lot of these by video conference. 300, I think, of the total 700 and some cases have been done by video conference. I don't have the number actually on the number of people who have been released, but there obviously have been people released.
So it was my understanding also that you wanted to close more courthouses.
Yeah.
Now, why is that?
Well, basically it's this. First of all, there are some courthouses that are just going to take huge investment because we have 101 courthouses, some of which are very old. The second thing is we've learned through our strategic planning process, if a courthouse gets less than 10,000 to 12,000 cases a year, the costs per case shoot up because you got a fixed infrastructure to run a courthouse. If you're not using it to full effectiveness, it's very expensive. If those 15 high-cost courthouses were even just to bring their cost down to average, we'd save $35 million a year. So we're trying to find ways, either through increasing jurisdiction to get over 10 or 12,000 a year so that they're taking full advantage of the infrastructure they got, or if necessary to combine them. This will take some time. There are some very difficult questions. There are issues about the tension between efficiency and access to justice.
Right. Yeah,
and there are real issues of access to justice.
Because of its in the rural areas.
You've got a real community court. You go out.
It's a community, especially in the local district courts. I mean, they're embedded into the community as other service
providers. It's like fire departments, the same thing. You don't need all the fire departments, but you have it because it's your own community.
Yeah, and there are real things that happen because a judge knows in a local community what the treatment programs are, what kinds of programs can help, all of that kind of stuff. So probation and the judge can work together to reduce recidivism, which is a key focus for us.
All right, good luck to you both.
Thank you.
We should proceed
Thank
with
you
this.
very much.
Judge Paula Carey and Harry Spence, pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
All right, and that is it for Greater Boston. Tomorrow we speak to a former juror who spent 2 months on a federal trial and, coincidentally, grew up in Whitey Bulger's neighborhood. And here's Adam Riley with a look at what's coming up on Beat the Press.
Emily, this week on Beat the Press, we're going to talk about why Whitey Bulger's lawyers want to keep some big-name Boston journalists out of the courtroom, and why those journalists say that's bogus.
What it really is about is he hates us. He's called me words that I can't say on camera.
We'll have that and more Friday on Beat the Press.
For that, all right, thanks, Adam. That's coming up all this week. I'm Emily Rooney. Thanks for watching.